Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bowhunt or Die. Justin, the bags underneath your eyes are starting to look a little better.
Somebody, I think on YouTube, said I looked tired. I got 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep last night, almost 4 hours. So.
And then on YouTube, they're talking about your eyes and me not shooting bucks. I don't know what to say. I am not giving up hope yet.
I like it though. We were just talking. Everybody's used to me not shooting deer. That's like a normal occurrence. But when Graf doesn't shoot one, it's a big deal. So every time there's like, our guys have been laying down giant bucks for the last like week, and every time we post a photo, everyone's like, "Where's Todd's buck? When's Todd gonna shoot one? What's going on with Todd?"
I don't know what I'm doing wrong this year. Hopefully the deer gods are gonna loosen up on me a little bit. I've had them breeding below my stand. I've had that big wide one, which you'll see eventually come up. All this footage you'll see, but dude, I just don't got the money shot yet. So
sometimes it just doesn't happen.
But we do have a money shot here where Richie does, not gonna ruin it, have a great hunt.
Well, I mean, it's the cover of the episode, so they already know the deer's dead, so we won't, we can't really spoil it for them. So let's take a look at Richie's hunt now. It's actually pretty cool.
Just got caught. Oh, there's a big box, big box, big box. Oh no, big box, big box. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. He's right there. I just shot the biggest buck of my life. Yeah, buddy boy. Mike, he's laying 45 yards from the tree. I can't wait to get my hands on this deer. We got history with this deer. We've had trail camera pictures of him all summer. We just started seeing some more videos of him recently on the stealth cams. I'm so excited. I can't believe it. Oh my God. Oh. Let's go take a look at this big boy. Oh man. For you guys at home watching, my buddy Mike's running the camera. He hunts on the same property with me. He and I just met up this morning. He hunted this morning. I slept in. As I told you guys earlier, I stayed up late to watch the Cubs win the World Series last night. Mike hunted this morning, saw some does. We came in here and I said, you know, I'm gonna hunt this set. We checked the camera. The big 9 was here at 6:58 this morning. I was a little depressed. I said, you know what? I'm gonna sit 8 hours till dark. Maybe he'll come back. Mike leaves to go get in his stand. I climb up in mine. I'm just starting to film my interview. Big rack coming through the timber. The rest is history. You guys are about to watch me walk up on the biggest buck I've ever killed. I shot it with my new Matthews Halon. Never in my wildest dreams did I think it would happen that fast. Absolutely unbelievable. God. Dude, look at that rack.
You can see it from here now.
That's the one. Oh man. Oh God. Look at the mass on this thing. Unbelievable. Look how heavy he carries it. What a buck. Oh, his ears ripped open. Check that out. I have hunted a lot of years for a buck like this, and I can tell you, this is without a doubt the biggest buck I've ever killed with a bow. What a tremendous animal. I couldn't be any happier. Guys, literally, this happened fast. Like I said, I wasn't in the stand 10 minutes. I was just starting to film my interview, and this buck was moving through the timber. It just happens fast. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Today I got lucky. I'm super, super happy about it. Man, what a buck. I got a spot for this guy picked out on the wall already. Mike, dude, thank you so much for being here and helping me. And man, I don't know what to say. This is like the greatest 24 hours I've ever experienced in my life. Last night, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series for the first time in 108 years. And then literally within 12 hours, I shoot the biggest buck of my life with a bow. God, does he stink. He's rutted up. What a tremendous buck. Bow hunt or die, guy. Now, bow hunt or die, guys. Now's the time to get out there and get after it. Hunt hard, do whatever you gotta do to get it done. We got one tag punched here in Illinois, and we got one more to go. What an absolute amazing hunt. It couldn't have played out any better today. This is just everything I could have asked for.
I think I'm gonna start sleeping in. I mean, I'm at a point right now with the number of hunts that I have. I think maybe that's the secret. You sleep in and then you get one within 10 minutes of being in the stand. I want that luck back. I don't think I've ever had that kind of luck.
That probably will never happen again to Richie, but you know, sometimes during the rut, that's just how it goes, you know. Everybody says, and I know it's kind of a cliche that, you know, your whole season can turn around in the matter of a couple of seconds, but if that isn't proof of that, I don't know what is. I mean, the guy didn't even get a chance to finish his opening interview. He looks up and there's a giant buck walking through the woods. I mean,
it is fun when you're sitting there out there self-filming or you're filming with somebody and you do see an animal right as you're doing your interview. It's like, whoa, is this happening right now? But I mean, Justin.
But it's not fun when they bust you while you're doing an interview.
But one thing that is super cool, guys, for those of you who are always asking us questions about grunt tubes, I mean, there's an example when the buck is in the right mood, boom, it can suck him right in. And there's a perfect example. I mean, you guys saw that. He hit that grunt tube, looked, gave it a second, and then bam, was on a string.
Yeah, and then I know that he hung up a little bit, and that's why Richie was using the can call, you know, which brought him the rest of the way in. And man, he made a perfect shot. I mean, that deer ran, I don't know, 50, 60 yards and crashed over.
That's what you want to see.
You know, he's a mid-160s deer, so congratulations to Richie, the best buck of his life. Obviously, he got pretty emotional in the stand there,
Were those tears?
Hey, man, I can't.
We couldn't zoom in on that.
I can't blame him. I can't blame him. It was a great deer. It was an emotional hunt, so congratulations to him. Biggest buck of his life, man. So next up, we are going to have 2 updates. One from John Herrmann, who is back in Illinois after some of those big bucks. And then we're going to hop up to Minnesota with Mike Fitzgerald. So let's check those out now.
Hey, good morning, kids. Today's a good day. It is Thursday, October 20th, and I am just leaving my home up here in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, and I am headed to Knox County, Illinois. Go down and see my buddy Carl. We're gonna do some hunting on his farm and probably some hunting down on the farm down in Fulton County as well. So we've got some big bucks running around down there this year, and this is kind of the all right, it's time to get serious moment of my season, and we're gonna see if we can't get a big buck arrow down there. So they were scraping pretty good when I was down there the first week of October, and I got some stealth cams hung on those scrapes, so we're gonna get a good inventory of what we got running around. But the key is putting myself in front of one of those big bucks and sliding an old black eagle arrow through them. So hopefully we can get that done in the next 5 days. I'm coming back on October 25th, so I've got until Tuesday morning to get it done. Hey, good morning, kids. It is what is it, Friday, October 21st. It's AM. It's about 5:30. I got to get moving here. I got to be walking by 5:45. I got a long walk in, about a half mile down the road, and then up through a cornfield. I'm going to sit in that same stand that I saw all those bucks in the last time I was down here. I checked a couple of cards. I haven't checked all my cards, but it looks like everything's pretty nocturnal, so I'm just going to have to keep plugging away and hope we get one that makes a mistake. But I think the wind's going to be fairly calm this morning. It's going to be light out of the northwest, which, it's not the best wind for up there, but it's good if they're along the edge of the cornfield. And cold. It's supposed to be in the 30s, so I haven't been outside yet, but she's going to be nippy getting dressed. But I got to get moving. We're going to go up and see if we can't kill a big Illinois buck this morning. Well, 8 o'clock. We had that really cool encounter with that buck right at first light. And then he loitered around out in that corn, just kind of feeding around. He might still be out there, bedded. But that's been it. And generally it's kind of over for me about this time here, unless it's rut. Alright, the first step of my plan is in place. We got in here early, we got in here really quiet, clean, all set up, ready to go. It's probably 4 o'clock, so we got a solid 2.5 hours before dark. We got some beautiful bedding to the west of me. I got the only standing corn in a long ways to the east of me. I'd be so bold as to say I bet I'd have a shooter buck that's bedded within 200 yards of me, either in this thick stuff to the west of me or out in that corn. I got a stealth cam down on this trail, and we had 800 pictures of them off that trail in the last 10 days, so that bodes well that we got a bunch of deer working their way along the river here. They come out of this thick stuff and then they either stay along the river below that dike, or else they come at me a little bit here to the north, pop up over the dike and go into the corn. Oh crap, we got raccoons already moving. All of a sudden I hear crash, crash, crash. Just a big old frickin' buck comes crashing up through this brush. He's just walking, but he just, like he owns the place. Comes right in, absolutely perfect. Jumps the creek, standing there 18 yards in my mock scrape. I got 2 stealth cams on video down there going. And my big camera, but he just wasn't what I wanted. Sunday afternoon, 23rd of October. I'm down in Knox County, Illinois. I'm actually driving down to Fulton County. Excuse my nudity again. It has turned into summer down here in Illinois. 75 degrees, something like that. It's brutal. But I'm down here. I'm gonna hunt, and we're gonna hope that we get a big buck on their feet during daylight. Well, that deer is bedded about 20 yards from me in some thick stuff, so that's a good thing. It's gonna let me get myself ready to shoot. I've actually got everything ready. I just haven't got my jacket on yet because it's too hot. That little nubby is the only deer that I've seen, but I just saw a tail flicking back in the brush about 70 yards to the west of me. So I'm expecting one to come popping out of here anytime. I get to do a closing interview in the stand because I had a shooter buck tending a doe about 80 yards to the north of me. Man, I seen him about 10 to 6, and they just didn't go anywhere. I mean, they just didn't go anywhere. They were in thick stuff, and she was just feeding along, and he snort wheezed once at another buck. But I just never really got good looks at him. I got some film of him. I think he's a 10 with a split brow on one side, so probably 11. Looked like a shooter to me. So I got a hot doe down here. Man, I should have been down here yesterday. But ifs and buts for candy and nuts. Good morning, kids. It is just cracking light. And my first goal of the morning was to get in here clean, and I think I accomplished that. I never ran into any deer, didn't hear any deer, didn't spook any deer. So I think that's a good thing. Generally, that means 2 things: either there's no deer here, or the deer are all bedded down. And with that moon phase peak movement, it's supposed to be after daylight today in the morning. I'm hoping that they're all going to get up here shortly. That's twice in this little 80-acre patch of thickness that a big old huge mature buck has done that to me. I got a lot better footage of this one. I mean, he's just coming right along the river. West to east, perfect. I see him coming. I'm all ready for him. He's right on that runway. Comes 18 yards, right where that 9-pointer I passed up Friday night was. But instead of coming on that runway, he comes right frickin' at my tree. Right at my tree. Wow, what a buck. Man, I sure have had some great encounters this time down here in Illinois. Oh, God, I'm just shaking like a leaf.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just checking in here from northern Minnesota. As you can see, I'm on my way out to the stand here, and I figured I'd take some time and get you caught up on my season so far. It's been a busy year for me, between my trip out to Colorado with Todd, getting everything shut down here at the resort, and my family, my wife, and my 20-month-old. I've been a lot busier than I have in the past. And between that and a conscious effort to actually keep my stands a little more fresh, I've only been out about 7 times so far this year. I bounced around a couple sits in a few different stands, hunted with a new clear cut a couple times. In fact, I hunted that with my buddy Nick, and that's really the only time that we've had a deer in bow range. We had a doe come in our tag up here in northern Minnesota this year. With archery, you can shoot either a doe or a buck with your tag, and he actually drew back twice on this doe. She was in for about 20 minutes, and she knew something was up, but she just couldn't commit. She wanted to come down the trail that we wanted her to, but in the end she ended up walking away. Other than that, though, I've had some good sits. It's been quiet. I'm excited for this time of year. Like I said, I purposefully have stayed out of the woods this year, just because I knew I was going to have more limited time and limited spots to hunt. One of my favorite spots to sit now is an area I call the Grassy Bench. It's an awesome little ridge line, a bench halfway down this little ridge that the bucks like to cruise between a couple big areas of timber and a couple new clear cuts. And my number 2 hitless buck, Walter, in the past, that's where I've gotten most of my pictures of him. And the other day I went out there, and when I pulled the card, lo and behold, I finally got a hard-horn picture of him this year. It's been a slower trail camera year for me, but I've had limited time to get them out, and because of these new clear cuts, I've really changed where I have a lot of them, and so I'm not too worried. And this is usually the time of year when the majority of the bucks that I'm after move in. So, but to say that I was excited is an understatement when I saw that photo. So tonight I'm actually going to be heading to the outlet after my number 1 hitless buck, a buck I call Evander, and I'll be pulling some cards tonight in hopes of getting my first pictures of him this year. This is about the week that he moved in last year and hung around for a month and a half or so. So anxious to progress with the season here, but just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update here. Things are plugging along, and I'm fairly optimistic for this season. I know there's a bunch of bucks around here, and even though I'm on a long buckless streak, it only takes 15 seconds to change that. So I'm looking forward to the next 2.5 weeks here of prime time hunting. It's going to be awesome, guys. Stick with me. Bow hunt or die. Well, there's no doubt about it, Todd. John Herrmann is having...
You're taking my words.
I know, I am. I'm
right.
trying to... I don't know, maybe I'm taking your bad luck away and giving you some good luck. But
you can have it all back.
You need some of Johnny Herrmann's luck, apparently. I mean, he is on the deer. You know, I know that, you know, Johnny mentions that's the biggest buck he's ever passed, you know, in his life. And, you know, kudos to him for doing it. He is a non-resident, which means he gets one buck tag. And it's an expensive tag. It's a $500 tag for a non-resident to come to Illinois. And he's got some great deer down there. And his cameras every year tell him that these big bucks really move a lot during the daylight in November. So he held off, you know, and to his credit, you know, let that deer go.
And let's just take that one step further. How about that mock scrape? I mean, you guys, you can see where Johnny took a string, pulled down that limb. He's got it all set up right there. I mean, the stealth cam footage is awesome. The mock scrape looks awesome. Guys, the mock scrapes work. You hear us talk about them all the time on the show. We're not trying to do some big advertisement. I'm sure that's what you'll say on YouTube, but I'm telling you, if you want to get good photos of bucks and you want to do something and have some fun, do the mock scrapes. They're cool.
Well, I mean, Troy Spolam killed his deer over a mock scrape. We saw that show a couple weeks ago, and now we had Johnny with a picture-perfect point-blank opportunity to shoot a beautiful, you know, 125, 130-inch whitetail that he passed on. And then that other deer that comes in, oh, man, that one's a heartbreaker. I mean, that is a gorgeous deer. He's going to shoot him, doesn't get a shot. I mean, that deer's got to take like 2 steps through that opening. And what does he do? He runs through the opening. It's like he knew, I need to make it from here to here, and then I'll be safe again. And unfortunately, he didn't get a shot at him.
Now we are significantly shifting gears down to first gear.
Yeah, we're slowing it down.
We're slowing it down with Fitz here. I mean, I feel like when I'm watching Fitz, man, I feel like I'm in like a sauna. It was like relaxing and just calm.
I don't know if I feel like I should be doing some water painting when I'm listening to Fitz tell me about his hunts. But man, there's just something about the Northwoods hunting and the canoe and the lake and the big woods. There's something, you know, enchanting about it, I guess, even if there aren't a ton of deer up there. But, you know, as Mike said, you know, a lot of his bucks move in later in the season. So now that it's November, hopefully they show up during daylight and give him a shot. So, guys, next up we've got 2 gear tips from you. One from Lancaster Archery. They're going to teach us a little bit about how to quiet our bows down. And then we get a lot of questions for Todd and myself about the gear that we use when we go filming and kind of how we pack it in. We did some segments on that a couple of years ago, but obviously a lot has changed with the gear that we're using from then until now. So I did an updated segment for you. So let's check those out now.
Hey everybody, this is PJ Riley from Lancaster Archery here with a bow hunting tech tip. Today we're going to talk to you about ways to quiet your bow. You're out there in the woods hunting, you want this bow to be as quiet as possible. One of the first things you're probably going to want to look for is to see if you've got a string stop. This device here, when you release the string, it comes forward, hits this rubber end here, and it just about kills any noise that your string is going to make. Limb savers. This is a device that's made for a split limb bow here. So you would slide this rubber device in between these 2 limbs and it's going to kill vibration. A solid limb bow, they also make a limb saver for that as well. A heavier arrow is going to make your bow quieter than a light one. That light arrow coming off your bow, it may have a distinct crack to it, noise. So there's all kinds of string silencers on the market. You can find whichever one you like aesthetically, whichever one matches your setup. Right here we have Monkey Tail, Matthews Monkey Tail. That's what this does. When you release the string, you got 2 of these, it's going to deaden the sound. So cat whisker is probably one of the most common types of string silencers out there. It's also one of the most effective. It's just a series of rubber strands that you're going to tie onto your string, and it's going to kill the vibration. That's going to make your bowstring nice and quiet. So those are some tips for making your bow quiet. If you have any questions, you can check us out at lancasterarchery.com.
All right, guys, one of the questions we most commonly get asked is about our camera and filming setup. So I'm going to just give you a little bit of a breakdown today on the gear that I use and how I use it. Of course, there's a million different ways to do this stuff. My way isn't always the right way, but this is what I do. So we'll start off, kind of with the easiest one. If you guys are looking to film your own hunts and you don't want to lug around the big camera and the camera arm and everything, Tactacam is definitely the way to go. This is the brand new Tactacam 4.0. We actually use the mount that's intended for a gun barrel, and it actually works perfectly. Clamps right onto our stabilizer. One button, you literally press this thing, turn it on, and it starts recording. The new one films in 2.7K, so it's a higher resolution than HD. It's got a 5 times zoom on it, so it's actually gonna get a lot closer to the target. And it's great for the guy that just wants to capture his hunt and be able to get that shot on film without all the big camera gear. So we really start with the Tactacam, and then we kind of work our way into the bigger gear. So if you watched the last video I did a couple years ago, I used to use a fanny pack to pack my gear in. I've since changed that around, and I'm using this camera pack from Badlands. It actually works out pretty nice. There's a few things I'd like to change on it, but so far I've made it work. So when you look at the pack itself, we start on the outside. Obviously I've got my camera arm strapped onto the outside. I'm using the new 4th Arrow arm. As you can see, I wrapped mine up with some camo tape just to help deaden the sound. And then I've got my Lank controller attached to the Manfrotto fluid head. Unfortunately, with the Sony camera that I've got, it's got like a bunch of adapter cables I have to use to make the Lank work with the camera. So I've got everything taped up so I don't lose any of it, and it's kind of just nice and compact in one spot. So typically that goes on the outside of my camera. So when I get to my tree, I typically take my bag and I set it down on my seat. I take this off and I hang it up in the tree, and the first thing I'm going to do is attach my base to the tree. So like I said, I'm using the 4th Arrow base. Now these things are actually designed so that you can buy a whole bunch of these metal bases here and leave them in the tree, and then all you have to do is take this shoulder with you and move this from tree to tree. The shoulder basically just slides in and out of this base. I personally prefer to have kind of a mobile setup, so what I've done is I leave my shoulder right in the base. I typically don't take this out of here. I leave it right in the base, and then what I've done is I have modified a muddy silent strap, they call this. So I've attached one end into the base, you've got the ratchet, then the other end I've got a carabiner. So when I get to my stand, I also attached a little loop here. So I can put a hook in the tree, hang this from the loop, go around, attach the carabiner here, and then ratchet it down. And then once this is actually on the tree, I'll use the tool that it comes with the arm to level it out, put the arm on it, and basically at that point I'm ready to go with my primary camera. So once I get that all done, before I button this up, we do like to use second angle cameras, especially for those of us that are self-filming, to help capture, the drawback sequence in the shot, or if you're rattling or calling or doing anything like that, it really comes in handy. So I use this little muddy micro mount, or I'll use a stick and pick mount, either one depending on the situation, and I just use a little GoPro. This is a Session. Basically take this and I'll angle it either down in front of me looking at me or behind me over my shoulder, one of the two. So I like to get my second angle camera set up. At that point, I pretty much button this up, and then I'm going to just take out my main camera. So what I'm using is a Sony AX100. It's a small 4K camera. You can thank my son for the stickers that he put on it. But it's just a small compact 4K camera. I'm using a Rode VideoMic Pro, which goes on the top of this. And that's basically it. I get my camera set up usually on my right-hand side. I've got my GoPro mounted up over my left shoulder, and then I've got my Tactacam on my bow. So that's the 3 cameras that I carry into the woods with me. Of course, I've got extra batteries and all sorts of other gear, packed away in here. But realistically, it's a pretty simple setup. At the end of the night, you throw your camera right back in. Open this up. Undo your mount, or your base, I should say, from the tree, stick it back in the bag. It's actually nice and compact, so it fits in here. Second angle camera goes in, zip it up, arm goes on the outside of the bag, and that's it. You're done and ready to go. So that's my camera setup for this year. Hopefully a big buck walks in front of me soon and I'm able to put it to use. I was able to harvest a doe, which you guys will see in next week's episode, along with some other updates from me from the field. So that's my hunting camera setup. If you guys have any suggestions or ideas of your own, feel free to post them down in the comments. I always love to see what everybody else is doing out there, maybe to improve on my ideas. So back to the show, guys.
There's no question about it, Justin. I mean, keeping your bow quiet is an important thing to do. I mean, if you hear something that's off, I mean, I think those are some great tips that they gave for sure.
I think Richie needs to take some of their advice. When he shot, there's a little bit of a twang on his bow. I'm sure a lot of folks picked up
play
on
the
that.
twang again, Brandon, so we'll be able to hear the twang. But with that being said, guys, our folks and friends over at Lancaster Archery is always there to help. Their 800 number, give them a call, and they'll definitely be there to help you out with any of your bow needs for sure. As far as my gear review goes, once I shoot my buck, I will do my gear review. But right now,
You're sounding pretty confident. If you shoot a buck?
okay, no, this is more like with the way things are going right now, this may be a spike with the way things are going right now. But or a
I'm
trophy
sure
doe.
there's a lot of people who would pay good money to see you shoot a spike.
I'm not shooting a spike. No, I'm leaving my spikes alone.
Fair enough.
But with that being said, guys, let's get to the favorite part of the show, man. Trophy photos.
Trophy photos.
Trophy photos. Andy Deering.
Peter Delphin.
Brett Haney.
Jake Ludovice.
Nate Korb.
And Daniel Casanova.
Hey guys, as always, those are some great trophies. And of course, if you'd like to see yourself right here on Bowhunt or Die, make sure you email us your photos at info@bowhunting.com.
Now, Todd, we're getting like 10 photos a day right now. So seriously, guys,
Bring them on.
keep them coming in. We're trying to pick some of the best ones out. So if you got a bad picture, no offense, back of the truck, blood all over the place, tongue
You're
hanging
out.
out, you're probably not going to make it in the show. So definitely send in
Come on,
the
guys.
best photo that you can.
We have put together a quality article on bowhunting.com on how to take a good trophy photo. If you want to see your photos on the show,
Make sure it's a good one.
Yeah, and read
And
that
if you got a
article.
Bowhunt or Die hat on like this, you got a
now
much
that's
better
money.
opportunity of getting in the show. So, guys, the rut is going right now. The deer are on their feet. There's guys shooting deer every day, except Todd. Early, late, midday, doesn't matter. You got to be in the woods. This is the time we live for. This next week is going to be on fire, and Grafmeister is going to kill himself in deer. I feel it.
Either that or
Can
myself.
you guys feel it? All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week right here on Bowhunt or Die.
For more exciting action, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram and receive live updates from our team members as well as the latest happenings in the bow hunting and archery world. Be sure to share your photos, stories, and experiences as well. And don't forget to pick up your official bowhunting.com and Bowhunt or Die gear by visiting bowhunting.com/gear. We have a full selection of hats, shirts, decals, wristbands, and much more. I may just start going for trophy does.
Don't worry, dude. Eventually you just get used to not killing deer, and then it doesn't bother you anymore.
Oh no, I'm bothered.
Hey, touchdown Detroit. All right.
Oh, should we say something about having a new president by the time this comes out?
Well, we'll just remind you of the vote.
Well, too late by the time.